All the Feelings presents
Adulting.
This episode,
Regrets.
Welcome back to All the Feelings, Adulting. I am your co-host, Tommy, and with me as always is Pete Wright. Pete, say hello to the people. Oh.
Hi, people.
Hi, everybody. So this is the podcast where we learn all the things that we were supposed to when we were becoming adults, and now that we are adults, we're still adulting all over each other. And what are we talking about today, Pete?
Today, Tom, we have a topic that is multifaceted, yet wrapped up in one special word. That word is regrets.
Whee! Whee! That's supposed to be like a little party sound. Yes, regrets. Yeah, and we have, this is a twofer, as we said it would be last week, because we have two subjects. And should we just dive right in and let them know what the first one is? All right.
Subset 1.
Apologies.
Pete, I would like to start this segment with an apology.
Already?
Yeah.
I don't even feel slighted yet.
Well, I think it'll all come back to you. It was a long time ago. I'm sorry if I did that thing that bothered you. I apologize for whatever I did, but it's not like we both haven't made mistakes before. I talk really fast and I think really fast, so sometimes I just get ahead of myself. It happens. And, I guess that's that. So, do you feel better? Did that apology make you feel better?
Perfect. No notes.
Yeah. So what I just gave you was...
By the way, I'm not going to be calling you for future lunches, dinners, or time spent together.
What I just gave you was a terrible version of an apology for a few specific reasons. We'll get into those reasons in a second. But first, I wanted to ask you a question about your childhood, because this is adulting, and we usually start by remembering time past. Do you remember what apologizing was like as a kid? You did something wrong and some sort of parental figure asked you or forced you to apologize. Do you remember what that felt like or how that usually went? I can go first if I'm putting you on the spot. It's a little weird.
Well, it's not so much on the spot. It's just that sense memory is weak, I think. I remember the performance of apologizing.
Okay.
I remember, right, like I was told to do this, so I'm doing it. So you're not going to get any of my heart in this apology.
Right.
But also I don't remember ever having I don't remember ever having done something so horrible that either of us were going to care about this apology in 5 minutes when I was a kid.
That's exactly what I wanted to get to, because what I remember is it was just a minor hurdle to get over. That it was just this little speed bump to reset situation, because I didn't have to give a ton of my heart and the person wasn't expecting me to give. I tripped them or I took some food from them or something like that. It was just something performative that had to be done, and then things could go back to normal and we could go back to Crash Bandicoot or whatever we were playing at the time. I usually wasn't thinking about what I did. It was just a course correction. But as adults, and I would like to think that I don't feel this way, but I do notice it in a lot of other people. It seems like something has changed about apologizing when you become an adult. I especially notice it in adult males, where apologizing becomes more about you than about the other person. And it becomes more about the would-be apologizer instead of the person being apologized to by a mistake. And that's because it seems like to certain adults, saying I'm sorry is no longer saying I'm sorry. It's admitting defeat. You're giving up. You're giving up somehow, and that makes you weaker or less than. As a kid, you just wanted things to go back to how they were. But now I think a lot of people mess up apologies or find it accidentally harder than they need to be, because they think they're resistant to being vulnerable. They think that they're going to lose. Is that do you think that's maybe right? I'm kind of going out on a limb, but I feel like there's something to that there. And that's why I especially put it on adult men, because it's like they put their back up instead.
I'll give you adult men, but I think there's a broader cultural shift around apologies that I've noticed, because it's even in how I witness kids who need to apologize.
Oh, okay.
Right. How they manifest those apologies. Like, more often than not, what I've seen watching my kids grow up in their classmates and, through high school, there is this sense that someone does something, like person A does something to person B,
Mhm.
whether it's inadvertent or intentional, and they owe that person B an apology. And instead, they will, at earliest stages, run away crying. The assailant, person A, runs
Oh,
away crying as if the slight happened to them. Person B is saying, what the hell did you just do? And they're fine. But person A feels so bad that they run away and they can't face that person because of the shame.
oh,
And when they
okay.
finally come back, it's perceived as an act of such extraordinary grace that they decided to come back and give you an apology because deep down, they were the ones who were slighted by the slight that they did to you, right? Like it is a
Interesting.
weird
So
turnabout.
it's still more about the apologizer than the
Yeah.
apologizee in either
Yes.
case. Okay.
Yeah. I think it is. And I don't love it because it's hard to get past that when the culture of, classrooms
Right.
is to allow kids who do things to other people to feel the worst
Sure.
in that scenario. And I get it. Like, it's okay to feel like I feel guilty. Let's say I did something, I didn't think it through beforehand, and the repercussions were serious. And now I feel so bad. I can't face that person. I can't muster an apology. Maybe they should apologize to me for letting me do that thing to them. I don't know. It just feels all backwards. And I don't like where we are.
And that's kids, and that sometimes is going to be main character syndrome that we've talked about before. Do you see
Yes.
that same thing in adults, though? Adults aren't running
It-
away crying.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're not running around crying, but they have their own version of it, right? They have their own version of sort of passive aggressive backing into the hedge, Homer Simpson.
Sure. Okay.
Right? It's just this entitled spirit of lack of ownership, lack of responsibility
Sure.
that
Okay.
that
Yeah.
I worry a little bit about as an old. I worry about that.
And so you see that not daily, but adults doing that more also.
Maybe it's because I'm attuned to it because I've watched, 20 years of kids doing it to each other.
Okay. So you've seen this change
You,
happen.
you
Okay.
see how it manifests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think some of that comes from, though, you're saying that it's making it about themselves, but is it also afraid? Is it over vulnerabilitying? I'm trying to
Mhm.
connect it to my thought, if there's a way to connect it. Maybe there isn't.
Yeah, maybe there isn't. I
Of
don't know. I think it's. I just think that the larger arc for me is when you have a culture where you're unable to take responsibility, to apologize, to own your own actions.
Sure.
It makes you feel like, oh well, I'm going to be the performative bigger man in your example, and I'm going to show you how big I am, even though I lost this engagement, right? Like,
Sure.
even though heavy quotes, or even though I don't know how to feel, I don't know how to make this better. And I don't know how to own it as a kid. I don't know how to own it, and I'm terrified of it, and I'm going to run away. Nobody has taught me
Still
how
running
to
away.
feel. Yeah.
Sure. And I think a lot of that, like that fake apology I made earlier at the very top
Mhm.
of my segment, that's actually made up of bad apologies I've overheard, been
Mhm.
offered, or I've even used one of those phrases myself. And
Yeah.
I was wondering, can I repeat the apology and you let me know what is wrong with it? Because
Yeah.
these are the kind of problems that people use giving apologies. Okay, so
Yeah.
here we go. I'm going to repeat it. I'm sorry if I did something that bothered you.
It doesn't acknowledge at all that you're aware of what you did that bothered me.
Correct. And it has the word if. So it's
Yeah.
still possibly letting me off the hook. It's saying,
Yeah.
it's not naming what it is. It's saying that it
Right.
might be you're the problem because you got bothered because you're oversensitive, and no specifics. Right. Next sentence, I apologize for whatever I did, but it's not like both of us hasn't made mistakes before.
I know. Awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime an apology has a but in it, you're
Mhm.
you're in bad shape.
Yeah, I'm adding you as a guilty accomplice, putting you
Right.
on the same ground as me. Next sentence, I talk really fast and think really fast, so sometimes I just get ahead of myself.
Yeah, that's not an apology. That's an explanation for why you're an idiot.
And that's the phrase that I've used before growing up. Yeah, offering up an excuse that doesn't seem sympathetic. It's actually kind of making me sound, hey, I talk real fast and I've got my hair slicked
I'm-
back.
Friends of mine would understand I'm completely out of control.
I'm out of control and I'm too busy rolling cigarettes up in my cool shirt pocket. And then finally, I guess, let's see, what is the last one? Oh, it happens. And I guess that's that. Okay,
Yeah.
obviously that's
Right.
terrible because there's no future plans for changing behavior for the future. So looking around the internet, I know this is not a look it up and share show, but I did find that it seems like everything is boiled down to 3 parts that make a good
Mhm.
apology. Number 1, specific acknowledgement of the offense. So being aware and saying exactly what you did. Number 2, expression of remorse without excuse.
Mhm.
And then 3, and this is the one that I also didn't do, commitment to change. I would add another step that I didn't see a lot of, and maybe it's sort of in 1, 2, or 3, but empathize. After you acknowledge the mistake, apologize for how it probably made the other person feel. Like that must have been really hurtful, that you must have felt betrayed or that I left you alone. Maybe that's supposing too much, but I think that that's an important part to it because then you're putting yourself in their shoes.
You know, I agree with that. And I think it gets back to sort of the title of the episode, right? Which is regrets.
Yeah.
Like the regret part is me acknowledging that the thing I did to you is something that I would hate to have happen to me.
Right. Golden rule stuff. Yeah.
Right. Right.
That's a good point. About the idea of how my idea of that some people might be hesitant to apologize because they lose or it's lowering their agency, or like you were saying, it's making themselves too vulnerable to own up mistakes. Do you know who Esther Perel is?
I do.
What do you know her from? Because I know she has a hit podcast and you're a real podcast head.
That's pretty much it. Esther Perel's podcast. She's a big brain.
Yeah, she's a
thinker on this
psychotherapist
stuff.
and she has
She's
a
psychotherapist,
podcast
right.
called Where Should We Begin?
Yeah.
And I looked up when I was searching around for stuff on her blog. I read something that I think maybe it's definitely could help me remembering this if I'm ever having trouble apologizing. And this is all her quote. She says, "There is power in apologizing first. It's not only because there is power in vulnerability, it's because there's something about owning, claiming, and taking responsibility that gives you a sense of agency." So that's the version of what you were talking about, but used for right. It's taking the power, and instead of running away or backing into the hedges, you're taking it head on and acknowledging it's not power over another, it's power to do something,
Right.
to clear the debris, to organize the pieces, to make things right. When you apologize, you choose to change the story to move the plot forward, end quote. I think that makes a ton of sense. And if more people can feel that way about apologizing, you'll have less regrets and you won't regret your own apology because then you're just a regret Ouroboros.
Right. And I think that's there's something to go back to your original example. There's something about doing that puts you in a place of perceived subservience over someone else. Right. I don't want to owe someone else anything.
Right.
And in a capitalist society, then the act of apologizing first, of taking ownership of a thing, can be perceived as, I screwed up. What can I do for you to make it better? And I'm curious your thoughts on that particular angle. Like I seem to live very much in a quid pro quo, tit for tat kind of a culture here in the West. And when is, I guess the big question, when is an apology enough? Or does every apology need an apology dowry?
I personally don't think so. That's like, because what that makes me think of is you give someone a gift and they send you a thank you card. Does part of you think, am I supposed to thank them for the thank you card? Like at some point,
never ending thank you card.
Yeah. It's like, like people of a different culture over bowing to each other back and forth and back and forth. And you're never going to stop bowing. So I think at some point, that's where I think the commitment to change is the gift. That's the cheese plate, is I see what I did. I'm sorry for what I did. I acknowledge it. And here's how I want to try to change it in the future. That's the gift that keeps on giving, is my thought. But it's funny you bring that up, because in other cultures, especially through business, if a mistake is made, there are actual gifts that you're supposed to give. as a part of it.
Yeah.
I don't remember which because I didn't want to copy paste a whole bunch of things, but that is a part of it. The idea that just the emotion and the speaking isn't enough.
Yeah.
But no, I would like to think that just the promise to do better, that's the bow. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, my initial thought was I wonder if that feeling of toxic masculine apologizing comes from that bit of ownership, right? Like, I don't want to owe you anything, bro.
Right.
Right. That's not how we do stuff. And so I'm not, gross, you know?
Right.
That, like, I just, you know, I did something to you and I don't want to have us in a commercial engagement. So I'd rather kind of run away from it by being a jerk.
Or the other side of that, just where you're talking about brogrets, if that's a word. Sometimes maybe it is the commercial thing that instead of apologizing, you're just like, I'll get you a drink.
Yeah.
Like that gets me off the emotional hook because the emotional hook makes me vulnerable and less than. So instead, I'll buy you some wings.
Let's both go and do some really obvious numbing behavior and not think about what we just did together.
Exactly.
Maybe we could top it off with some hot wings.
Yeah, exactly. Like just sprinkle a little bit of Klonopin on your hot wing and then everything numbs out and you're fine.
Do you know what?
I think that's
I didn't know this, but brogrets have become my favorite kind of regret.
I hate, man. Okay, so then with all of this under our belt, I've done examples of terrible apology, given suggestions for a good apology. I was wondering if we could give something a try, Pete.
Sure.
I want to redo my apology and try to model a good apology. But this is addressing a wrong that I put upon you. I actually did a long time ago, and I've been forever regretful. And so as a first for this podcast, this segment will go directly, without stopping, into our Feeling Friends ad segment. No stops,
so I shouldn't
no pauses.
talk, is what you're saying. I
don't think so. Correct. But you can guffaw. You're going to maybe just have some perhaps mournful music, Pete, of your choosing, added as bedding under my regretful voice. Let's go ahead and start that music in 3, 2. Now, Pete, no truly good apology can exist without remembrance of the mistake that was made. And in this case, there was betrayal that I offered when love and understanding should have been given in its stead. And so to fully remember said regrettable event, let's play this short clip from the sister precursor to this podcast, What's That Smell? Episode 508. My transgression was shared so many regrettable years ago on February 2nd, 2021. Let's listen, revisit, and then let the healing begin.
The third thing I found, which is something that it's become very important to me, is this. Now I'm showing it to you on the live stream. Do you know what this is?
Looks like a fake potato. Oh, that rhymes. But what is it? No, I don't know what that is. It looks like a radio that's a potato.
It is a potato, and it has these silver discs all over it. And those discs are electrically charged, Tom. And it is called the Shocktato. And I'm not kidding. You can see it. It's written there. It's called Shocktato.
What? Is this an invention that you made?
I didn't make it. It's actually based on the child's game Hot Potato, where when you turn it on, it plays music and you have to throw it around to each other. And if whoever catches it, it shocks you. And there are 3 modes. There's lame, there's normal, and there's extreme.
So aggressive.
And lame just like tickles you. It's like nothing. Normal gives you a little shot. And extreme, it shocks you a lot. While you're holding it, you feel it all the way up your wrist. It's like a horrible thing. Yeah. And so this game is incredibly difficult to play. It gives me great stress.
Why would you ever want to play that? Wow.
I do this thing. I play it. It plays music. And so I hold it very carefully by the plastic parts. I put it on extreme and I'll hold it like this.
Yeah.
And it's like a game of like finger knives, the finger split.
Alien.
From Alien, because when the music stops, it's going to be lit up.
What's the song?
You can't see it. Oh, and then
I'm predicting like a "Here Goes Round the Mulberry Bush."
No, it's
it's the theme from Psycho. That alone, even if it didn't shock, I don't like that potato.
Yeah.
No, that was. no for the win. That literally just happened. Oh no, are you okay? You shot-tatoed yourself. Oh no, Pete. You've been shot-tatoed.
I gotta.
Don't pick it up. Just kick it out the door. Pete, I'm really sorry for something I did in that episode, specifically episode 508 of our What's That Smell podcast, Specificity. I apologize for laughing when you shocked yourself with a game device you bought and were surprised when it did exactly what you told us its purpose was. Reminder of my wrongdoing. You were surprised and hurt, and instead of trying to help out, I just laughed. Specificity of wrongdoing. That must have felt like a real betrayal of trust. Empathy for an idiot. I'm sorry I acted so carelessly, and I promise I will try much harder to be a podcast partner that you can trust and one that cares about you and your incredibly easily shocked fingers very much. Plans to deal with idiocy moving forward. Pete, I hope you can accept my apology. Haven't become a feeling friend yet to this podcast? No apologies necessary, kinda. But now is the time to shock yourself into action and go over to allthefeelings.fun and become a feeling friend today. For a one-time low, shockingly low $35 price and a shockingly lower price of $25 recurring, you can help keep this podcast on the air instead of apologizing once it disintegrates into the wildly overpopulated podcast universe. Please head over to allthefeelings.fun, get all of your extras, and we will see you in the Feeling Friend-averse. And now, back to the show. Oh no, you have it right there. You have the shock potato right there.
Yeah, it lives in infamy.
Let the drum beat go.
Subset 2.
Helping others through grief.
All right, Tom. Hi. Welcome back.
Hello, Pete.
What are we doing here? Regrets. We're doing regrets. This is the other side of regrets.
Yep, we got subsets.
Regrets in this case is condolences, or no one taught me how to help you is what I might call this segment.
Okay.
You just have to imagine, put yourself in that space that someone you know just lost someone. Maybe they lost a parent or a partner or a friend or a beloved pet that was basically a roommate who paid rent and cuddles and fur. And suddenly, right, you, the adult, are faced with an impossible task. Support that person.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Your brain
Very
panics.
daunting. I'm sorry.
Very daunting. Do you
Yeah.
call? Do you text? Do you send lasagna? Is lasagna too heavy? Or maybe dairy is a problem? Or maybe gluten insensitive?
Oh,
Like maybe you are just adding gastrointestinal distress to their grief.
To take their mind
That's
off
not
it?
a way to do it. Yeah, to take their mind off it,
Yeah.
right? This is the emotional escape room of adult friendship and adult familyship, right? Helping someone through a loss without making it worse, which I think is an important caveat. And we all have to know, to set the table, we have absolutely no idea how to help someone else grieve. We just don't do it.
you're taking
well.
that as a given. You're saying you're putting that out there.
That's what I'm saying.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. Because it's weird, because you've done all kinds of other stuff as an adult. You have done hard things. You've taken on IKEA furniture, and you have voluntarily made a dentist appointment, and you know maybe even how to fold a fitted sheet. Like all of these things you've done, maybe some of them accidentally, but as soon as you inherit this one gift of someone else's grief, it's hard to do because we don't practice it very often. It doesn't happen very often. Like we don't have a chance to test out skills and figure it out. And especially when it happens to someone else before it happens to you.
I see.
Right?
So you don't have what you would want
Right. There's
ready,
like no
all teed up. Sure.
Right. Nobody teaches you this. There's no intro to grief 101 in high school, right? It's just our culture is generally lousy at this, and we're raised in a system where thoughts and prayers are sufficient.
Ooh,
And
right.
right? That they are sufficient in a response to literally everything now, right?
And it's modeled
just thoughts and
from
prayers.
our leaders. Thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. Right. Yeah.
Right. So I think we were talking last week, we didn't know who was going to do what. And I think you tossed it back to me via text saying, hey, your dad died. You should do this one. So
did I word it that?
I think that's
that well.
I think that's what you said. And it's true. My dad died of COVID, and it happened very fast. 6 days from hey, I'm doing fine to I'm dead in the COVID ward, and I wasn't allowed to be with him. And my family here was on vacation at the coast, so I was alone in my house, just me, and suddenly a wicked loud refrigerator just humming in another room of the house. It was this echo of life-changing loss. And I'll tell you, I did not know how I wanted to be helped at that point. Yeah. Right? People reached out, which was amazing. They were very, very kind. I don't remember the great wash of any of them, except one.
Oh, okay.
Within 30 minutes of finding out that my dad had passed, there was a DoorDash with a mod pizza on my mat. It was, as from our dear friend of the show, Kurt, he had delivered this pizza. There was no thinking of you. There was no text. It was just my order of pineapple and pepperoni and jalapenos and black olives and bacon.
Wow.
And he knew, without needing to ask, that I wasn't going to eat unless food showed up at my house, because I forgot. I was totally out of my head, and I would not have eaten had I not had to stand up and answer the door.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
That, to me, is what grief support looks like. And that is my model for grief support. It's not perfect. It's not poetic. It's just pizza, man. Like, it's just the thing I needed at the time.
Sure.
So that's what we're talking about today. It's not the beautiful Instagrammable way to show grief on the internet. It's about getting it right. It's about trying to figure out what the messy, weird, awkward panic is and how to get to the other side of it when you're in the presence of someone else's sorrow. And still, you are showing up anyway.
Right.
Okay.
I'm already thinking about Kurt's offering.
Yeah.
And even though this is exactly what you're getting at, I'm double thinking it and triple thinking it. And thinking I'm getting stuck on whether I would have put in a card or some sort of a message and not just the function. And I'm agonizing about going back and forth about whether that it would accidentally send a bad message to not include some sort of card message, and then the logistics of that and getting lost in the weeds, I think is what I'm saying.
Well, and all I can tell you, based on my experience there, was that in that moment, a card would have been too much. A card would have gotten in the way of immediacy. A card would have gotten in the way of the need.
Right, because you said 30 minutes, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the grief text panic, right? Like you freeze as an adult who doesn't know what to say or how to say it, right? You completely freeze, and you're absolutely right rethinking it. The fear of making it worse, the absurd calculus of condolences etiquette.
Right.
According to this is a website I found, What's Your Grief? ?
Okay.
In 2021, says 68% of people say they avoid grieving friends. They avoid them altogether because, guess why?
Because they don't want to make things worse, or they don't want to remind the person of their grief?
One, they don't know what to say. Two, they're afraid of doing the wrong thing.
There you go. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's it. So I think that is a terrible way to set the table for how to deal with the people who are closest to us, right? Mm-hmm. So because we're trying to challenge this myth of an emotionally competent adult that we think doesn't exist. We assume adults know how to do adult things, and we really don't. That's the whole purpose of season 10 of this show, is that we run into too many stories of people who are, sweating the fact that they just bought a car and can't change a tire, or they just got a job and don't know what a 401k is.
Yeah.
Or, here we are, don't know how to help a friend after a parent dies. A meta-analysis of bereavement communication done by Burleson and Goldsmith. That's right. It's a real smarty journal article.
Wow.
Found that people consistently overestimate how much their discomfort will harm the grieving person. So they choose avoidance, which is actually worse.
Right.
This ties directly into your segment, right? We overestimate how much our slight will harm the person we slighted. So we avoid. We run and hide. Like that's the real...
the small part potential of getting it slightly wrong is worse.
Yeah.
And so do nothing at all, or just avoid it and overthink it, like I was talking about. Yeah.
Right. Because grief support was largely not taught to us in school. Right. Like we culturally, we modeled avoidance, not fluency.
Right. Something that it took me a long time to learn, and I'm always still learning reminding myself of it, is that worry that I brought up of, well, it's been a while since the loss, and I don't want to bring it back up to check on them because they have clearly probably forgotten all about it, and then I'll just make them sad again. And I'm learning that that's insane, that they're dealing with it every day for a long, long time. It never goes away. So me bringing it up, they won't be like, oh, right. That death. Oh, great. Now that's on the top of my pile. I had forgotten it because of that pizza. No, that's...
You just were able to kick that Spin Doctors song out of my head, though. Thanks.
Yeah, and that's making it so much about myself.
Yeah.
And enlarging when instead what I've learned is one of the most important things, and I hope I'm not stepping on anything that you're saying, I think, is to keep checking in, because people move on a little too fast.
Yes.
You lose a pet, you lose something like that where people don't have the exact same situation and know how to do it. There's a really big rush of sorry and a lot of lasagna, and then that spigot just turns off. And I think that can feel extremely lonely.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge, right? A couple of things you got me thinking about. First was, I have this image of you sitting in your Mazda in a Walgreens parking lot, like Googling how to support someone grieving before going in and buying a really dumb sympathy card and like a king-size Toblerone.
That sounds about right. I don't know about king size. I mean, economy's not doing great.
So I love that you kind of lead into this next bit, which is what does and doesn't help. And when you are the emotional centerpiece, as someone doing the grieving, you're living through the shock of, in this case, my dad's death, right? You're living through that shock. Being physically alone is a real tightrope, because in some ways I want to just be alone,
right,
and be able to sort of grieve in peace. And at the same time, being alone implies that there are people out there who are not saying anything, right? Who are not being present. The pizza was really great because it was a sign of life. It was a sign that, hey, I know this is hard. I don't know what to do, but it seems like you probably need to eat.
Yeah.
Right. You can take, this is the example of put on your mask before you put on your child's. You got to take care of yourself before you can take care of the event of loss, of grief, or whatever that is. Practical support. According to Harvard Health, meals, rides, and errands were rated more helpful than any sort of verbal sympathy in many grief studies that lowers the cognitive load on the grieving person. So the practical support, like just showing up and saying, hey, I'm going to go get this thing for you. But here's the other piece that I think is a trick. This is the thoughts and prayers conundrum. One of the things that we say naturally is, let me know what you need. That is a myth. It's unanswerable because when you're grieving, you feel wholly guilty at asking anyone to do anything for you. It feels like such an immensely individual experience. And I would never know how to answer that question. If you were to say, what do you need? Are you doing okay? What can I do to help you?
What can I do to help is the big...
I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Right? I don't know what you can do to help me. I don't know what's next. So what's often offered as the alternative is to say out loud, I don't know what to say, right? I acknowledge how awkward it is. I acknowledge how painful it is. And I'm going to go to the grocery store and I'm going to get some juice and some eggs, some protein, and I'm going to make you breakfast.
Oh, I
don't
thought
know
he was
what
just
else
doing
to
his
do.
own shopping. He found it so
I'm going to
awkward.
go get
He's
some
like,
stuff. I'll come back when I put my groceries away in my apartment, and I'll come back. Is there anything I can get you?
Right. Toblerone stains all over their
Yeah.
fingers.
This is the piece. So when we look at the events, like I don't need you to tell me to recite a TED talk on grief.
Yeah.
I don't need you to worry about awkwardness. The most awkward thing is the people who aren't there, right? I need a text. I need a voicemail. I don't know what to say, but I'm right here. So like number one, this goes back to that Harvard study. Name the loss. Don't dance around it. Say, I'm so sorry your dad died, right? Research it
Specificity.
says,
Again.
yeah, that naming the deceased is affirming and healing, right? Being able to say it out loud and normalize a new reality, right?
Instead of
number
just
two,
saying your loss.
yeah,
Okay. Go ahead.
right. Don't ask. Don't say what I just said. Don't say, let me know what you need. Let me know if you need anything. Just show up. Just order that pizza. Just mow the lawn. Just, text a meme that says, I'm right here and I'm thinking about your stupid face. Like I want laughs. And then number three is stay present, even late, right? Show up after the funeral. Show up, mark an anniversary, right?
Yep.
Like everyone forgets except the one who's dealing with the loss. They will be remembering every birthday, every death day, every day, every holiday, that especially in those early years. But my God, it never ends. It never ends. There is always an echo, and showing that you have the foresight to remember and acknowledge is this ongoing slog is demonstration that you understand check-ins matter. Check-ins matter a lot.
That's the part I need to be better at. Better. One of the things, because you said don't ask, one of my best friends lost both of his parents in a very young, in a dramatic occurrence, and friend of the show, Nikki, and we didn't know what to do. He was living in another state. And so anyways, we went to, this is dating it, but we went to Tower Video. She still lived out here in Los Angeles. And we bought 8 different DVDs. And then we wrote out we wrote out a letter as if it was she and I speaking to each other, arguing about which movies were the better ones to watch. And we called it The Gift of Mass Distraction.
It's perfect.
And we said, there's nothing we can do except here's just a bunch of movies that we love that we think you should own, and maybe just watching something. I need to remember that stuff. That came very naturally to me. I think I'm weirdly out of practice. And sadly, I mean, with adulting, I'm going to be much more in practice very soon. So my plan is either to, just remember how to do that and keep at it, or just stop, just start ruining my relationships.
Yeah,
with
right.
my
If
friends,
you're done.
so I don't have
if
to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm getting ahead of
It's
it.
just a sign I'm finished.
Yeah.
I'm finished with our relationship, so I don't have to deal with your loss.
Yeah. I'm sensing some downers coming. So peace out.
I hear the sorrow train coming down those tracks. Woo-woo.
And this is my stop. I think my biggest takeaway from this is just the reminder, the importance of showing up one way or another and lowering your effect that you're going to have, meaning take away your importance in the situation. The importance is the tip of the hat. The importance is the pizza, not how well you did something or how well you worded something. It's just the showing up, because there really isn't anything we can do but showing up is the thing.
Yeah,
And so if
yeah,
you can do that,
presence.
that's most of it.
Showing up with a pizza is one thing. Showing up with tiki torches and a great solo that you're going to sing
Oh no.
is less good.
Just like a funeral song with a boombox over your head, say anything style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. He's swinging on a star. Don't rewrite the lyrics to a standard, please.
The tiki torches, though, are a nice touch. I kind of like that.
Okay. Keep the tiki torches. Don't rewrite the music. It's okay. Thank you all so much for joining us for this episode. This week's tune is Baby, I'm Stuck in a Cone by Gefilte Fish. Coming up next week. Tom, what are we doing?
We are talking about, it's a little bit in line with some of the things we've been talking about today, but maybe not quite as dark. Either way, we're going to be talking about our parents and helping our parents age. The adults over us. The adultings that are happening even over our adulting, and how to deal with all of the changes that are happening with them, and learning from them, hopefully, and learning from their adulting experience, because we're right behind them. And it's exciting to see. Yeah.
That's right. When your adults are adulting.
Right.
That's next week on Adulting. Until then, I'm Pete Wright.
And I'm Tommy Metz III. Thank you so much for downloading this episode. We will be here next week on All the Feelings, Adulting.